Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast. We have Julie Holly here. And she's the founder of Three Keys Investment. She helps people find good opportunities in real estate investing, teach them how to invest and make their money work for them, because a lot of people don't. Julie's got an interesting background. She was a school teacher, first and second grade, which is pretty cool, right? I don't interview many school teachers. My wife actually was a school teacher in Mexico when I first met her. So that was so power to all the school teachers out there. It's good that they're kind of catching on to the real estate world, because they realize that a lot more money in the real estate space. There's more stability, right? There's a lot of things. Julie also is a high performance coach. She has a book club, a networking club. She's got a lot of energy, as I was talking to her before we went live. So it's going to be exciting to interview her. She's resides in the beautiful state of Ohio. Beautiful state of, sorry, Ohio is not beautiful. No, I'm just kidding. Ohio is actually, it's green, but in Idaho, which is beautiful. I've only been to Coeur d'Alene, really, and Coeur d'Alene's amazing. She's a little bit further than that, up towards Canada. So she's used to the cold weather and she likes the snow, obviously. So Julie, welcome to the show.
I don't know if I like the snow. Let's be real. I can't really be on my mountain bike if I'm out there. I could fat tire, but you know.
So welcome to the show. You got a great background. Before we went live, you told me your family, they're all in real estate. Mostly they're real estate brokers, and they've been in, you're a third generation kind of real estate So when did you get the bug to actually being an investor in real estate?
I got the bug very, very early on. And it was really, the impetus was, here's the thing. I wanted financial security. I grew up in residential real estate, and residential real estate has its highs and its lows, as anybody knows, right? Your background in flipping, you remember, like, sometimes it's really easy to flip and there's lots of opportunity, and sometimes there's not. So it's like, I really didn't like that lifestyle and I wanted stability. And my mom was a school teacher. I ended up going into school teaching, crushing school early, graduating college early at 22 years old. That's really young. Looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so young. I was a child. That's why the parents looked at me funny. And so I started teaching, and in my third year, I thought I have financial security. Hey, this is a government job. What are they going to do? It's government. And I'm also going to have this great pension plan because I'm a teacher working for the government. And guess what? Year 3, they started handing out pink slips. And it was like, I barely missed that pink slip, just barely, because of seniority, but that really jarred me. I'm like, this isn't secure. I thought I got into this gig and I was going to contribute to the world and it was going to be secure. And I was going to do good while creating a secure financial future. And I left. I resigned and I followed my dad and grandfather into residential real estate sales. Absolutely crushed it. And this is before the 2008 crash, but everybody was talking about that. It's kind of like it is right now, where, it's like people are like, ooh, something's shifting, something's changing, right? It was that kind of chatter. And that made me nervous. I'm like, oh, this is going to get scary. But I was also very successful financially, and that felt good. But the work I had to do to get there, I wasn't personally developed to be able to have that type of success and have that type of work, and cranky people. I wasn't used to cranky people. I wasn't used to unethical people, because there was a lot of that before the crash, still a lot of that. So I was just jarred, went back into education. But in that period, I was house hacking and working on my own house, and just decided when my husband and I got together that, let's just create this small rental portfolio throughout our life, and it will be there when we get older. And then fast forward, didn't like that so much, didn't feel secure once we had kids in the picture, because I was managing these and I'm like, gosh, if something happens to this, if we have to put a new roof on that's going to wipe out everything, all the income from the year for that one property. This isn't really feeling like the way I want this to go. So we sold off. I found multifamily syndication, which obviously leads to lots of other things that you can syndicate. But that was my first aha, there's this other way, and I can contribute to the world, and I can create a business plan, something solid. And I fell in love. I've never turned back.
That is cool. That's a great story. And I was actually, or I still am, I'm a California real estate broker. I've sold a lot of houses, and I personally don't really love that space either. I mean, sure, it's a good way to make money, but it's really a grind. I give credit to people that love that type of grind, but to me, you're always as good as your last transaction. And of course, you can build these teams and grow it, and I understand that concept. It didn't really. I'm still licensed. Will I sell a house again? I mean, I'm selling a house right now. My aunt's buying a brand new. I use it now for like referral fees, and my aunt's buying a new home, so I'm obviously signed her up with KB and I get an $8,000 commission. So yeah, of course I still use it, and it's got its place. But I don't think I'll ever go back to doing traditional real estate sales again. And I, like you, have done the flipping, and that's really a kind of a grind as well. And really, your journey is kind of interesting. That then you discovered the multifamily world. Now, who was like kind of your like big mentor in the beginning, like you learned the most from? Did you take a course? Did you join a mentorship? Curious to hear that.
I did. So I found the syndication process through listening to Bigger Pockets, like so many people, right? Monique Halm was on there, the first woman and that I heard, and the first person I'd ever heard speak on syndication. And so then I started listening to Michael Blanc's podcast, which is a natural segue. This is 2-3 years ago. It's 3 years ago now. I'm like, gosh, feel like I'm in a time vortex. But at that time, you didn't have as many podcasts specifically on multifamily. Michael Blanc's was one of the big ones. And he had really great he still does great content. And I was just soaking everything up. And went to a couple of conferences. So it started with like Real Estate Guys. They have a Secrets of Successful Syndication. And it felt like a college level course. And then we went to Rod Cleef's event. And we knew my husband was with me on this journey. And we just knew we needed some type of guidance. I said, I don't want to take forever. We're in our 40s. I don't want this to, I don't want to spend the rest of my life figuring this out. We have the means, let's figure this out, join a program. And so we looked at different programs, landed actually on Rod Cleef's Warrior program. And the reason was, it was for me, the harmonious balance between, let me teach you the mechanics of this, which if you have some level of real estate background to you, and like, it just felt very natural. It was just, okay, let me just figure out what these different definitions are. Okay, this is a word for this. Okay, I got it. However, I didn't realize how much mindset work I needed to do. And that was actually what drew me into that program was, okay, I've got the mechanics and I have a mentor, and I also have a high performance coach that I am working with, and it's all part of this program. And more programs out there, I guess, if you will, are leaning towards that model now, but that was the first of its kind. And that was exactly the combination I needed.
I went to one of his conferences. I enjoyed it. It was in like Southern California a few years back. And I like how he wears flip-flops and it's a pretty fun event. And I did get a lot out of it. And yeah, I do agree with you on the that it's really the mindset is the biggest piece. I think the mechanics of real estate is not that complicated, but it's really like overcoming your limiting beliefs, right? You hear that over and over again. And even with me, I always have that thing in the back burner, and that's why I have never had a high performance coach. At some point I need one, because I'm not getting any younger. And it's just like, it's almost like a therapist too, right? Your coach, because it's somebody to talk to. Like, everybody thinks it's bad to have a therapist. And I mean, really, everybody needs somebody to talk to, and just like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what and coaches can kind of just like, here, this is what you should do. Just work on this. And like, I think that would be good for most people. And most people, and I shouldn't say most people, it's not good to say most people, but I think
you can say most people, it's your show.
Okay. I think people need to invest in themselves more, right? Because that's the real estate up here is the most important thing. And that's what I love when I started reading your bio, how you started this book club. And you're into high performance coaching, and obviously, like I could just tell you're have a good frequency about you. You've got a lot of energy, and it's always good. So talk to us about like the book club, the networking club, like how your business has transpired and it's grown. And obviously you started, sounds like you did some LP investment. Now you're GP in a lot of stuff, and you're co-GP and you're building now like huge construction projects. And so a lot of that is finding the right partners and co-GPs and team members. And I just want to kind of hear how that evolved for you.
That's a really interesting question. Like so many points there where I'm like, ooh, which one? It feels like a candy store, right? So I think, to your point of how did that evolve from the get-go, right? So I did begin with the LP position. And for me, that felt like the very responsible choice. I knew I was going to be asking for money from investors. That was my whole goal was, wow, this is harmonious between everything I love to do. I love to serve people. I love to educate people, and I love to contribute to the world. And so that's where this multifamily investing space really worked well for like synergetic with who I am and what I want to leave behind in this world. So beginning with the LP was like definitely the right move to do. And then from there, it took a long time for me to work my way into a GP position. And really that had to do with the space between my ears, a lack of confidence. It wasn't a lack of, do I understand this? It was a lack of personal confidence. And that's where working with a high performance coach really empowered me was, it's clearing that clutter. So, I mean, high performance coach is a little bit of everything out there. It's not shrink, it's a little bit of shrink, a little bit of therapist, a little bit like it's a little bit of everything. But the goal is to constantly be progressing forward. So, high performance coaches work with a framework that's more like, okay, we're going through this process versus what's your problem today? Let's address that. So they're really taking what your future vision is and helping you lean into and start living that future vision. And the longer I've worked with a high performance coach, which I think everyone should be working with a coach of some sort, because it's the game changer. It absolutely changes everything. My podcast began because I had a coach, tell me, what's the date? And it wasn't that he's serving as an accountability partner so much as he just knew I needed to set a date. I needed a deadline, and that's what I needed. When it comes to the book club, I do a lot of I like to collaborate with people. I think that you learn about people in community, and I don't like talking business at first blush, right? Like, when people jump in at meetup groups and things like that, and they just start jumping into business, I like to get to know somebody, because I'm going to do business with people that I feel comfortable with, that I feel comfortable communicating with, that I believe on a deeper level I can trust. Not just are you a nice person, but I think there's substance to you and I think I can trust you. Tons of really fantastic people out there, but not everyone is on the same frequency. It's not a better, worse, or anything like that. It's important to make sure that you're aligning with people that are on that same frequency. Because then you're not going to have like some kink in the hose. You're going to be able to go, fast and far.
I like that. Frequency. Yeah. You're right. That's such a key. The frequency. You got to be on the same frequency. I love that. That's so true. To find, because let's face it, partnerships don't always work out. People have different personalities. I see it all the time. I see deals going sideways, especially in the flipping business, because I still finance a lot of these flippers. They have the one operator, and then there's the other kind of private money partner, and then the deal is supposed to be 6 months and takes a year and a half. And real estate is not always easy. I think the last 8 years, we've had a bull rush. Everybody's a super rock star right now. Everybody's bragging about how much money they're making, but at some point there's gonna be a reckoning, right? And there's gonna be,
it's coming.
What's the saying? The shit's gonna hit the fan. And
Yeah.
not like it's gonna be like 2008. You were around too in 2008. That was a very hard time for me because I owned a lot of real estate and I didn't know what I didn't know. And not that I think it's gonna be a 2008 again, but I just think that people haven't like personally, I would flip a house, and sometimes the appreciation from when I bought it saved me, and it wasn't my first flip either. So it's just that happens over and over again. So I think a lot of people that are doing some bigger speculation plays in a changing market. I mean, just look at what happened to interest rates. Crazy last two weeks. So that's going to play a big. It's going to slow the market. I don't know. There's still a huge demand. There's still shortage of inventory. So I don't think we're going to experience anything crazy, but I do think that people need to realize that if you just got in this business, that it's not always rosy.
I think, and it's really a breath of fresh air to speak to someone else that remembers '08, that was in housing in that era, because when I see the landscape right now, particularly in, the space, my niche, the multifamily apartment niche, right? I just see and that's what really honestly probably slowed me down more than anything with creating partnerships was, okay, like real estate has to be done right. And you are just rushing around, creating these quick little flash partnerships and doing deals to do deals and really not being super cautious and definitely counting on the appreciation. And it's like, I know what it's like. I was raised in real estate. So I grew up in that childhood where I saw the ups and downs. And I remember '08 vividly. And so it's a matter of, I would rather take my time and make sure everything is set up and postured to, weather the storm, because it's going to come and we shouldn't be afraid of it. If you are creating the right partnerships and you are posturing your assets correctly, it's actually going to end up being a win for a lot of us. And our investors are going to be really happy.
Yeah. And I mean, there'll be opportunities that are created because there might be somebody that's a sponsorship team that's like in the middle of a heavy value add, and now they're stuck because the bridge loan's expired and it's coming due. And then, this new team that's ready can pick up pieces. So I think, there's always there's always opportunities, and you just got to know that you need to be stress testing your deals and what's the worst case scenarios. But at the end of the day, the good thing is we're in a business that everybody needs. They need housing. They need a roof over their head. Yeah. And if you're buying cash flowing assets, and even if you stress test the occupancy level, I mean, what's the worst that really can happen? And so it's really the kind of, I think the people that are ultra aggressive, they got into these 12 or 24 month bridge loans that are, expecting to refinance into agency loan or, get bank takeout. And all of a sudden, they're underwriting at a 4% rate or 3.5% interest rate. Now it's 5.5. That's going to mess around with the debt service coverage ratio. Those are the things that we all got to be aware of in real estate, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Real estate's a great business. I think being, a passive investor, I was talking about this the other day. The ultimate place to be is to be the LP and be able to put the money with the ponies that are going to win. Right. And that's the way I look at it. If I could be like that right now, that's what I would do. I wouldn't necessarily want the stress because the general partner side, right, they have the responsibility of performing. And so if they don't perform, nobody's going to bet on them anymore. And so really, if you're the LP and you have the capital, you're really just, your capital is at risk per se to a certain degree. But really your job as the LP, what I would consider a professional LP, is you just vet the ponies.
Yep.
And that would be the best job to be okay, I'm just going to vet opportunities and invest with the people I have the most confidence in and the projects I like the best.
And that's exactly what Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant shows. Investor is the ultimate position when you're, using your money, investing. Just invest and make money off of your investments. It's absolutely powerful. What's interesting is how many people are, they're on the GP side, they're active investors, but their whole goal is to become passive investors.
Yeah, it's
very common.
Yeah, it's not really talked about as much as it's everybody's oh, are you an LP or a GP? Probably if you have the capital or the resources to put your equity or your cash into a deals and not have a responsibility, because you got to remember there's you have to deal with a lot of stuff sometimes when you're doing a heavy reposition on a property and it doesn't go the right way. And you have to like send out your newsletter to your investors and they get pissed off and call you, and you have to deal with people that are upset at you. And at the end of the day, what's the number one thing, right? Is protect the investor's capital. That's like the really, if you're raising, if you're raising money, I haven't personally done any syndications, but I've had many investors invest in my flips, into my rental properties, as usually as debt components. Like I make them the Bank of America. And the number one thing is, pay them a decent return and protect their cash, protect their capital infusion in the deal, and be transparent as you can. And so that's a big thing too. So it'll be interesting, I guess, because I'm so involved in the real estate space, we see it everywhere. And probably same thing with you.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you look, somebody's posting on LinkedIn or there. It's like overwhelming. So give us some takeaways now, like kind of your vision for the next couple of years for yourself, for your business, for your investors. What are your goals?
Well, I have a goal, and this is really a lofty goal, but somebody asked me this actually at Rod Cleef's event last December. I was on a panel and they asked, what is everyone's goal? And my goal is honestly endless. There is no finish line for my goal unless this happens. And that is, I want to help as many people find that financial component that they're looking for as possible, right? Like there are so many people that I'll just say it like this, like they need to be emancipated. They are slaves to their job. They're slaves to their fear over their finances, over their financial future. They're afraid. They see what's happening. So many people see what's happening in this world and they're afraid about what that's going to do to their lifestyle. Can I continue to build on the lifestyle so I can have this other lifestyle? Or can I give my kids these opportunities? Or can I like so many people, it's tied to their finances. Part of that's money mindset and part of it's just like practically just what it is. But I just want to support people in finding this as an avenue to help really create a more resilient investment portfolio. Because I was in my 40s when I found this as like another asset I can add to our investment portfolio. This made so much more sense to me, and it's really elicited a passion to, educate people as much as possible. Like you can participate. It's not difficult, and you have the easiest job when you're a passive investor. So I say that's like my number one goal right there.
I love it. That's a very good goal. I mean, I'm 44. And so like this year to me, it was like, okay, I woke up and I'm like, wait, I'm 44. I'm a middle-aged man. See, I don't have children. So I'm like, I always think I'm still 20, and I got married at 42 years old. So like, I don't realize that I'm 44. And then like kind of in the back of my mind, the biggest fear is like waking up alone in my 70s with no money, right? Like that's like the worst case scenario, like where I'm that person that's, no offense to anybody that's listening, I'm that person that's working at Walmart at 75 years old. And it's not because I like the job, it's because I have to. I think that should scare enough people to like want to take action. And I think the power of like social media and like podcasts and stuff is like, listen, these are just normal people that like got the mindset, and they didn't start with the mindset, but they got the mindset. And I think that's the key takeaway. What you were just saying is so true, that we all need to do that. And it's like, I like what you said too about not having a goal. Like my goals are endless, are limitless, and you're always striving to move the needle. Where can
it's
people?
Annoying for people, by the way. Yeah. Some people are like, "Can you just put the brakes on?" I'm like, "Why? We get one life, and I'm going to go out blazing." Yeah, I'm going to take as many people up as possible.
Hi, if you'd like to book a call with me and discuss SBA financing, whether it's a 7A or 504, or you just don't know where to start, maybe it's a startup business, you're buying an existing business, you're buying a franchise, you're building a new office building, you want to expand your existing business, we have multiple solutions. I can walk you through the 7A and the 504 and the SBA loan process. And if you have any other questions on any other types of financing, I'm happy to book a call with you. The link's below. Look forward to seeing you soon. Now, where can people find out more information about you? Where what's the name of your podcast, your book club? Where's the best place to send people to like start following you, become your friend, learn more about what you're doing?
Definitely. Just head over to julieholly.com, and that will take you to all things Julie Holly, because it is eclectic. So you can access the Three Keys Investment Company through julieholly.com. You can access the Conscious Investor podcast that way and check out the episodes. There are over 250 episodes available for you to enjoy. Lots of people love it, and I'd love for you to come and enjoy those. And what's cool about that, this will sound counterproductive in one regard, but if your goal isn't about your own self, but it's about serving others, this makes a lot of sense, which that is my goal. I have so many of my guests on my show will tell me, Julie, I had so many people come and invest in my deal because I was on your podcast. Right. So it's not just about me, but I can duplicate myself through having really great guests on the podcast. So super rock star people over there. And set up a time, schedule a time and connect up with me.
That's awesome. And do you guys meet online for your book club?
Yeah. Okay. The book club is, we kind of kept touching on it. It's, professional and personal development. So we flip flop between those type of books. It's a virtual book club, people across the country, even sometimes in other countries. And right now, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we're going to be reading To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink, which is everybody is selling something at every single moment. Right now, I am, telling people, pitching the book club. But a moment ago, we were talking about, what's going to happen with bridge loans, right? We're always selling whatever it is we're talking about. It's really a sales spiel. So 5 weeks, you go through one book. It's usually about 8 pages, Monday through Friday, and you're done. So lots of people growing and creating professional relationships and good friends from it.
That's really cool. I never have been in a book club, and always wondered what the format is, but there's so many wise people, and there's a couple things that resonate is that usually the people that are most successful in life, and not just from a dollar standpoint, but they're readers, right? They're into high performance habits. They're usually pretty active. They either work out outside or they go to the gym. I mean, there's certain traits, and the number one thing is readers, right? Like people that read seem to become more successful. And it's because you can get all these great minds and get little tidbits from everybody.
So you see my expression on my face. I can never hold it in. It's just so powerful. I look at my bookshelf and I think I'd never been in a book club. And this all started because of Brendon Burchard's book, High Performance Habits. I just wanted outside accountability. That's all I wanted. So I gathered some people, I threw it out there and said, hey, I'm going to read this book. I created a schedule, right? Leaning onto my teaching skills and background, created a reading schedule, and we met. And then at the end, one of the people said, so what are we going to read next? And literally that was in 2019, 2020, I guess. Literally that changed the pandemic experience for a lot of people.
Where's Brent? I used to follow Brendan a lot. I went to one of his seminars. I like him a lot.
He's great.
Where has he been lately? Maybe he's just not been as out in the public as he's hiding out or something.
I don't know. Because I follow a lot of people and I really like him. I love his books. I have one here. I have them all over the place, but I haven't been following him recently.
I know. Yeah. It's just random that I'm just thinking, where did he go? He was everywhere for a while, and maybe he's met a new wife, or I don't know if he's married or whatever, but anyway, interesting. I should look him up and see what he's doing. But he's a pretty interesting high performance guy. What other high performance people do you follow, just out of curiosity?
I love Michael Neal, who I showed you that book, Super Coach. He's phenomenal. On a different, similar frequency, Ed Milet happens to be one of my favorite podcasts, when it comes to leveling up. But Michael Neal has a couple of podcasts and they're super short.
I like Ed Milet too. He's his podcast, he asks really good questions too. And when you look at him, you wouldn't expect him to be so deep. Just looking at him from an exterior, you're just who's this guy? And then also so successful. That guy's just the beast, and it's unbelievable. Gosh. Yeah. So it's just amazing to see these people, and you're like, whoa. But
he has it all, right? I'm saying that loosely, but it's one thing to have financial success. It's one thing to have success with your family, but from everything that I see, it's like you're in touch with your feelings. You know who you are. You're grounded. You're strong. You're capable. You have these important relationships that you nurture and cultivate. You financially raise other people up. Like it's kind of, you could go on. Like that's a really great role model to have.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome people to learn from out there. And it's like, they're all over. You just got to start following them and get involved one way or the other. Yeah. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Love to get you back on the show at some point and learn, continue our conversation. We could probably just talk for hours and about all different random stuff.
Yeah. And you're going to come on my show. I'm going to make a spot for you so that you can get on sooner than later. And I want to talk about flipping.
Yeah, we can talk about
flipping. I got to talk about your progression.
Yeah. Flipping houses. I actually did a TV show on HGTV, flipping houses, called Flip It to Win It. They found me online on a YouTube video, which I thought was interesting. And that's when now I'm like, YouTube is everything. Like if you look at all these people that own real estate on YouTube, right? Like Graham Stephan and all these people, these influencers, and they're making $6-7 million a year from their YouTube and their sales and their channels. It's just amazing. So, we all are media companies, whether I always tell people this, you're a real estate person. Listen, you got to get the word out about what you do. And what the cool thing about like doing this podcast is people like listen and watch the show. And then they call me and like, they act like they know me because this is genuine. Like you and I are genuine conversation right now. So and it leads to business and deals and, not every, some people call and all I can do is give them advice, which is fine. And sometimes I spent like 3 hours on the phone with this lady one time and I'm like, this is Saturday and it's kind of awkward that we're like having this huge, deep conversation and I don't even know you, but
it really is interesting like that. But sometimes it's like you just be present where you're supposed to be. I've had some of those conversations myself and I'm like, apparently this conversation needed to happen on the timeline continuum. And maybe it was for me, but maybe it was just for this person. I'm not sure, but
yeah. So it's about being on the same frequency. Just going back to what you said. Anyways, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And please stay tuned and follow Julie at all the places she told you to follow her, which was, again, one more time,
julieholly.com.
Easy to remember. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.